of you know. Coach Lawler coached Lancer football for 27 years at Lew-Port and track for 29 years. And he was a teacher, of course, in the elementary and phys ed for 33 years. In his time at Lew-Port, he was a JV coach in the 70s, and Coach Lawler's teams fed the varsity teams and won 6 Section 6 divisional championships in the 1970s. And of course, Don Cook and Mark Shea and those guys were on those teams. When Harry moved up to the varsity level as an assistant and later in a varsity head coach, Lancer teams won 4 Section 6 Division III championships and 3 Section 6 playoff appearances at Rich Stadium. The 1982 Lancer team was the distinction of being the only Lew-Port football team in history to win a sectional championship at Rich Stadium. We're going to try to add to that next year, Coach, okay? As the longest tenured boys track coach in Lew-Port history, Coach Lawler won 5 NFL Division II championships. The undefeated 83 team was the only Lew-Port boys track team to win an outright NFL championship. Throughout his whole career as a teacher and coach, Harry's conduct on and off the field was that of a Hall of Famer. He always treated his players with a deep sense of respect and taught his players the importance of being good people ahead of being great athletes. He practiced and preached the importance of sportsmanship, and his players obliged as they recall his lessons years later in their lives today. He retired from teaching and coaching in 2006. In retirement, he's all over the place. He hunts, he's an avid hunter, he plays hockey how many nights a week. And he continues to be a presence in our athletic program. He's at many of our events. He comes out to our football games. He helps out at our track meets, in the shot and disc, and he even out there, just recording. He's helping kids and showing them techniques. There was a meet at North Tonawanda last year where he was even helping the scorer make sure they scored correctly. That's the kind of guy Harry is. He wants it done right, He lives in Lewiston with his wife Beverly and has 2 daughters, Jennifer, who graduated in 1997, and Carrie, who's here this evening, who graduated in 2006. A few more words about Harry. If you sit down with Coach Lawler, it's unbelievable. I've met very few people who have a memory like Harry did, and again, one of the reasons we wanted him on our committee is because he's been around a long time. He's been around a lot of different sports, and he's coached and taught most every student that's come through Lewiston Porter. And he remembers things like, we'd be talking about somebody, one of the inductees that's being nominated, as we're going around kind of figure out who we're going to pick, he'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that kid. We lined up one play, we were in the wishbone, and the play was to run to the right, and what he did, Johnny handed it off to Peter, and he did it, and then he ran the play 6 yards up to the hash mark. It was unbelievable. He's got a photograph. It's amazing. If you've ever played hockey with Harry, he's one of the most intense individuals you've ever met. Now, he's a very nice man, but when he gets out in the field to play, and he did this when he was coaching, if you ever saw it, he's a very, very intense individual. And that intensity from a coach in the field of play definitely carries down to the kids. And his athletes do remember that and played very, very hard for him. As we went through this, I mentioned a little bit in the beginning, Harry's a very humble person. He does not like to be in the spotlight. He doesn't like this to be about him. And again, when we went through this, he didn't want to be nominated because he wanted more of the kids to be up here. But it was unanimous from the rest of the committee that he certainly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. If talking to some of his colleagues that worked with him, Cindy Sonoyan, who's here tonight, spent a lot of time with him in his last few years that he was teaching. What an amazing teacher. He's not a phys ed teacher who rolls the ball out and says, okay, let's go play basketball, I'm going to go out for a run or anything. He taught, and he was very, again, his intensity, yet the passion for the kids that he taught, and they remember every minute of that. And again, just a great person with a great amount of character that he taught his kids and his athletes through the years, and very well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. Coach Lawler.